This is CBC Vancouver News.
As a father, I like to give them what they want, but how I can.
A cry for help ahead of Christmas.
Oh no, how are we going to meet this need?
A Surrey hamper service desperate for donations for children. Also,
they could not give me a timing, when we could go in and get a shot.
Vaccination frustration as parents struggle to find flu shots for their kids. And
I'm sorry it's taken me so long to reach out to you.
Celine Dion canceled shows as she reveals a new and rare diagnosis. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Dan is away tonight. I'm Michelle Ghoussoub. We have a desperate plea tonight from a group trying to bring Christmas to hundreds of children in Surrey. The Cloverdale Christmas Hamper program says huge demand has them worried some kids will not get a present even though they've signed up for one. Nazara Premji explains it's not too late for you to help.
I have 5 children, all of them under 17. And they waiting for the Christmas Bureau, the gift.
Even in the cold, Ali Mohsen is determined to wait in line at the Cloverdale Community Kitchen. The group also runs a Christmas hamper program. Right now, Mohsen's lined up for the food bank, but as Christmas nears, he's preparing to come back to get gifts for his kids, if there are enough.
I'm as a father, I like to give them what they want, but how I can.
He moved to Canada from Iraq as a doctor, but cannot practice here and struggles to provide for his family right now.
We are 7 people, we live here, and of course we need help. We need help, especially in this time. This time everything is very expensive.
He relies on the hamper program to give his kids something to unwrap on Christmas Day, just like their friends.
Children, they not understand. This is I can bring or I cannot. They won't. Also, they look to them friends. They have also, the family gave the friends or give the friends is big and very expensive or very good gift of Christmas.
But he isn't the only one relying on the Cloverdale hamper program.
Over the last number of years, we've averaged anywhere from about 200 to 250 kids under 18. This year when we opened up registrations, they just started pouring in, and we have close to 900 kids under 18 registered for the program.
A surge in demand, but also a lack of supply, at least so far.
So we're putting out the huge call to the community, trying to run toy drives because we want to make sure that every one of these kids and teens gets gifts at Christmas.
Families will also be given a bag of food and an opportunity to shop in something called a free store, where they can shop for free warm items donated to the Cloverdale Community Kitchen.
So a lot of these kids, and especially some of our new Canadians, they came to the country with just a shirt on their back, maybe a suitcase, and some of them, this is their first Christmas here in Canada.
A Christmas he hopes they can make special. Donated Christmas gifts will be picked up by families next Wednesday, and anyone wanting to donate can contact the Cloverdale Community Kitchen.
So thank you very much, and please, we need more.
Zara Premji, CBC News, Cloverdale.
we're learning more tonight about the 6 children in BC who died from influenza. All of the deaths occurred in the month of November. One of the children was younger than 5 years old. 3 were between 5 and 9. 2 were teenagers between the ages of 15 and 19. The province says early findings show some of the children experienced secondary bacterial infections, which can be a dangerous complication of influenza. In the wake of those deaths, the province is now promising to provide weekly updates on influenza deaths in children. They're warning of a surge in the strains of the flu that can cause serious illness in young people, and they're urging parents to get their children vaccinated. But some BC families who want the shot are struggling to book appointments, with slots filling up quickly. And as Yasmin Gandam reports, health officials insist appointments and walk-ins are available.
I started getting a little bit nervous that my son, whether he'll be able to get it or not.
Sanjay Kaul has spent every morning on Shoppers Drug Mart's website looking for a flu shot appointment for him and his 15-year-old son.
Especially because we have seen with COVID how bad it was. I lost my dad last year because of COVID.
Paul lives in Langley and has been driving all across the Fraser Valley looking for a spot. He struck out at least 8 locations. The push to get a flu shot comes after at least 5 children in BC died from influenza-related illnesses in November alone. Paul finally secured an appointment on Wednesday after weeks of looking.
There's a pharmacy close to my son's school in Walnut Grove, and last week we went there on Friday. They told me I should come back on Wednesday morning. That's when we went yesterday, and after some back and forth and talking to BC Health, we were able to get a shot for myself and my son.
Local pharmacists say they are noticing a shortage of vaccines coupled with high demand late into the year.
Historically, the trends usually decline end of November, and we're sitting in the first week of December and still injecting flu shots and having a lot of calls from patients saying, do we have flu shots?
He says some people are driving from West Vancouver to Surrey to try to get jabbed.
It gives me the impression that there is a shortage out there, but I haven't specifically heard that there's an official shortage. But I know that they have stopped distributing the flu shots to the pharmacies as of 2 weeks ago. So now it's just a matter of getting to the right location at the right time.
The BC Pharmacy Association says there are over 14,000 available appointments in Langley alone and more than 20,000 in Surrey. It urges people to book through the Get Vaccinated system online. Meanwhile, health authorities throughout BC are offering extra walk-in flu shots at clinics and other sites from Friday to Sunday, part of the push to get more people protected and try to save more lives. Yasmin Gandim, CBC News, Langley.
After 8 days of difficult testimony, we now have a verdict in the Trayvon Chalifou Desjardins coroner's inquest. Desjardins Chalifou was a Cree teen who died by suicide in his Abbotsford group home in 2020. It took 4 days for his body to be found in his room. The jury has recommended BC stop housing Indigenous foster children in group homes as soon as possible. After hearing from his mother, foster parents, social worker, and psychologist, the jury found teens like the 17-year-old should receive more care specific to their Indigenous cultures. It also recommended cutting group homes out of the foster care system entirely and hiring more Indigenous staff. Victoria Police want to speak to anyone who was near Topaz Park on Tuesday morning from 9 to 10 o'clock. That's when they say a teenage girl was sexually assaulted by 2 men.
She was in the area between Finlayson and Glasgow Streets near the washrooms when her path was blocked by the 2 men. They stopped the girl and sexually assaulted her. Luckily, she was able to break free of the men and ran to a safe place and immediately told a responsible adult.
The 2 men are described as about 60 years old and dressed in disheveled clothing. They were wearing dark-colored clothes and carrying large backpacks. Anyone in the area with home security footage or information is asked to contact police. Delta police have arrested 2 suspects who are accused of assaulting, robbing, and forcibly confining 2 women to a U-Haul van. Police were called to Highway 17 at Ladner Trunk Road earlier today. They found a 21-year-old woman who said she had managed to escape the U-Haul after being locked inside. Police later found the van in Aldergrove, where they also found the other victim. RCMP arrested a man and a woman who are now in custody. Police at this time are not identifying the suspects until charges against them have been approved. Surrey RCMP say they have arrested a 40-year-old man after a woman was stabbed to death last night. Officers were called to a home at 127th Street and 66th Avenue in Newton just before 9:30 after a report of a stabbing. The 40-year-old victim was rushed to hospital but didn't survive. Homicide investigators say the suspect and the victim knew each other and there is no risk to the public. Now, warning, this next story may be upsetting to some people. Researchers say a paralyzed humpback whale that swam to Hawaii from BC was likely injured from a boat strike. A whale watching company spotted this injured humpback in Hawaiian waters Thursday and reported it to the Pacific Whale Foundation, which sent a researcher to capture this footage. Using a database, they were able to identify the whale as Moon, who has been known to roam BC waters for the past 2 decades. She was documented several times with a calf in 2020 and was spotted with the injury off this coast in September.
It's pretty remarkable that the whale was able to make the migration to Hawaii from British Columbia in the condition it was in, because it was unable to use its flukes or tail and was relying solely on its pectoral fin.
This comes after 4 dead humpback whales were found along BC shorelines within a month of each other. Vessel strikes are suspected in at least 2 of them, and researchers say boaters need to slow down when they see the whales because they're unpredictable and swim close to the surface. They say Moon will die naturally, but it will likely be a difficult death for the whale. A popular ski resort on Vancouver Island is asking visitors to bring your own water bottle as it deals with drought conditions. Mount Washington Alpine Ski Resort says a lack of snow on the hill and low levels in the local reservoir mean there's less space on the hills for winter recreation. The province says Vancouver Island is currently at drought level 3 on a scale of 5. Well, some good news if you're a British Columbian who frequently flies between here and Toronto. Your airline options are about to get a boost. Starting in February, Toronto-based Porter Airlines plans to offer flights from Toronto's Pearson Airport to Vancouver. That's the longest route in the carrier's 16-year existence, and it's possible thanks to Porter's purchase of 50 new long-range jets. It is also adding flights from Toronto to Ottawa and Montreal. In October, the ArriveCan app was made optional for travelers entering Canada. It's no longer used to report vaccination status, but you can still use it to fill out a customs form to save time. But the latest figures show people are not buying in. Numbers from the Canada Border Services Agency reveal only 13% of air travel passengers used the app in October. Vancouver was above average, but still fewer than 1 in 5 people use the screening tool. The CBSA says the app, which cost $17 million to develop and launch, has $54 million dedicated to it until March of next year. Good news for people who don't like massive, mildly terrifying insects. There have been no reported sightings of the invasive northern giant hornets this year. The hornets, sometimes called murder hornets, were causing a buzz of concern since 2019 because they're known to kill local bee and hornet species. Native to Asia, murder hornets have been spotted in Washington state and southern BC. They were last seen in 2021, but won't be considered eradicated until they haven't been detected for 3 years. The Bank of Canada raised its benchmark rate again yesterday. It's now 4.25%. This is the 7th time this year the central bank has raised its rate in the fight against inflation. The bank has taken its rate to its highest point since 2008, the fastest pace of rate hikes since inflation targeting began in the 1990s. And those rate hikes have hit some home buyers hard, especially those with variable mortgage rates, as they see their monthly housing costs climb even higher.
If a Chinese company has access to RCMP communications, it's a concern.
The Canadian government suspends contract with a tech company amid concerns for national safety, but many questions remain unanswered. We'll have that full story when we come back. Thanks for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. For more than 40 years, buffalo have roamed a 485-hectare patch of land southwest of Calgary. Every November, they're rounded up for care. That's because they create an important connection to the past for the First Nations community.
They're the heart of our nation. Hi, my name is Clayton Whitney. I manage the Tsuut'ina Nation buffalo paddock.
5 and 2, so we got to do 2 shots.
We're rounded up our buffalo herd. We do this every year in November. They get vaccinated, dewormed, and ear tags. Oh, it's a good adrenaline rush when you're working with these guys. They're so unpredictable and naturally wild animals, so you just got to be ready for anything. It's an honor to be a part of it, and really thankful for this herd that we have here. They were dispersed by the government to different reserves from Elk Island National Park. Our reserve got 30 head in 1980. The herd's growing unbelievably since then and got more land for them, and they're thriving here. So this buffalo paddocks is actually the dead center of the reserve here. So like I said, the heart of the nation.
Count cap!
It's exciting, you know, bringing community members in. They'll be running gates and sorting the bison as they come through, helping vaccinate and tag with me up front.
Oh!
Baby going straight out!
But definitely couldn't do it without these guys here to help me do this.
Yeah, they got another cow coming too, so.
It's nice just to, you know, all of us to gather and work together, and they really enjoy coming here every year to do this, so it's kind of highlighting everyone's year.
Hey, coming!
It's a big weight off the shoulders, that's for sure. Just getting them through, and that can take a big breath, and it's nice once they're out and see them back in their natural habitat and in their pastures, and it's really humbling, I guess, to know you're helping the buffalo get back, you know, to the land, and an animal that was almost extinct, right? And you're a part of that, bringing them back. So yeah, it's an honor to be a part of that.
The Canadian government has ended its contract with Sinclair Technologies a day after Radio-Canada revealed the company was supplying communications equipment to the RCMP, despite its links to a Chinese firm facing espionage charges in the U.S. Ashley Burke explains why this would be a problem and could have been flagged during a security review.
The government attacked for a second day over its awarding of an RCMP contract to a firm linked to China.
The Liberals literally handed the keys of our national security over to Beijing. How could they be so incompetent?
The Prime Minister made very clear today, the Minister of Public Safety and I yesterday also share these concerns.
Sinclair Technologies got the contract last year to keep the RCMP's radio frequency secure, but its parent company, Hytera, is accused of espionage in the U.S. Now the government is backing away.
As of this moment, the RCMP have suspended the contract with Sinclair.
The minister responsible for the Mounties says the RCMP has been installing the equipment itself and is now double-checking it.
Our top priority in awarding these contracts is to guard against national security in any way in which they may manifest as a threat. That's why we developed a national security screening protocol.
But Radio-Canada learned that protocol isn't mandatory. And in this case, the RCMP didn't ask Canada's Electronic Spy Agency to conduct a risk assessment.
The RCMP is the entity which is responsible for investigating espionage. And we do know that, you know, China is a major espionage target. So if a Chinese company has access to RCMP communications, it's a concern, right?
She says the fact the RCMP installed the technology itself doesn't completely shield it from risk.
While it is hard to basically crack encrypted communications, I think there's some concern that if there was some kind of back door on this technology, that an entity would be able to get the metadata of the conversations, which would still reveal a lot about a potential investigation.
The public safety minister says the government is now reviewing how the contract got the all clear and has promised to make changes to the procurement process if needed. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Alberta lawmakers have passed the controversial Sovereignty Act with a significant amendment. The bill, introduced by Premier Danielle Smith, gives the provincial government power to ignore federal laws deemed harmful. The amendment takes the ability away from Smith's cabinet to make those decisions in secret and grants the power of invoking the act to the legislature. Here's a live shot of Harbour Centre. Amy Bell will have your full forecast next.
It's been a day for celebration in Greater Vancouver. The region finally has a new mass transit system. And unlike any other system in Canada, this one is operated not by people, but by computers. Karen Webb reports.
BC's new light rail system couldn't just start up one morning, no bells, no whistles. For the government of British Columbia, it had to be ceremony. Plaques, politicians, and speeches. A series of pats on the back.
Today is just the first of a lot of exciting things that are part of a total package that means exciting things that will continue to happen not only in Greater Vancouver, but all of British Columbia.
And thank yous.
And in particular, to you ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pay for the system and use it.
You bring on the first SkyTrain at Waterfront Station here in Vancouver.
The first official train run began this morning. The technology was developed in Ontario, and a similar system has been built there. But this 22-kilometer run is unique. It is operated completely by a central computer system. No drivers, not even backup ones.
Hi again.
The provincial government chose today to launch the new system because it is also the 10th anniversary of Bill Bennett's rise to power. Accordingly, it was Bennett front and center today, handshakes and hoopla, with only an occasional discouraging word.
Why don't you give us jobs instead of monuments to you, eh? Yeah, like coal and this, a bunch of bullshit.
And there were a few discouraging problems with the trains. Often the automatic doors didn't work as well as they should. They wouldn't open, taking some people to destinations unplanned, stranding others completely until real live uncomputerized people would come with a key. The bugs must be shaken from the SkyTrain before Expo 86 opens 5 months from now. It's supposed to be a showcase attraction, and its real test will come when it goes into full-time operation in January. Until then, it won't face a morning rush hour, just Christmas shoppers heading home into the sunset. Karen Webb, CBC News, Vancouver.
I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
Enjoy CBC Radio 1 while you're on the go with the free CBC Listen app. Get live and on-demand access to your favorite CBC radio programs like The Early Edition with Stephen Quinn. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter at cbc.ca/Vancouver Inbox and keep connected with us.
Canadian superstar Celine Dion has revealed she's suffering from a rare neurological disorder that's impacting every aspect of her life. Eli Glasner has more on Dion's emotional disclosure.
I'm sorry it's taken me so long to reach out to you.
Fans love Celine Dion for the way that she connects with them, but today's message was different.
Recently, I've been diagnosed with a very rare neurological disorder called stiff person syndrome.
Because the symptoms present subtly at first, stiff person syndrome can take years to diagnose. Many neurologists will only see a few cases in their lifetime.
Symptoms, it could be quite variable as well, but the common ones is a lot of rigidity, so a lot of stiffness, and sometimes people get a lot of spasms as well.
These spasms affect every aspect of my daily life, sometimes causing difficulties when I walk and not allowing me to use my vocal cords to sing the way I'm used to.
The result, a raft of cancellations for upcoming shows, some now pushed to 2024. This music critic isn't surprised Dion is taking a break.
There's a lot of things that happen at a Celine Dion show. It's not just simply her there standing and singing. She's moving around. And also, she's using her body to project, and her lungs and her vocal cords. And those things, clearly, she feels are not up to snuff right now.
The name does not do the disease justice.
Those with the same syndrome are now applauding how the singer is using her voice.
Hopefully this will validate the disease and wake people up to it and help, raise awareness, shorten the diagnostic time, put it on medical providers' radar.
For this autoimmune disorder, there is no cure, only treatment combining therapy with medicine. Dion is focusing on rehabilitation, but it's a battle.
I'm working hard with my sports medicine therapist every day to build back my strength and my ability to perform again. But I have to admit, it's been a struggle.
One she's now sharing with her fans.
I love you guys so much. And I really hope I can see you again real soon.
Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
And Amy Bell joins us now for a look at the weather. Amy, it was the first day that didn't feel quite as cold, if I'm not wrong?
No, you are correct. We actually got up to about 6 degrees at its warmest today, so much warmer than we have seen for several days, and that means a lot of that excess slush and ice and snow that's been lingering since last week finally got a chance to melt. We did have some overnight and early morning rain that was quite heavy at times, so it's been a bit of a soggy one. We saw showers on and off throughout the day. Pretty uneventful, though, for most areas. Action was more sort of south of the border. What we're going to see, though, over the next couple of days is a little bit of calmness tomorrow before we get into our next weather maker. It's just sitting off the coast right now, and we'll see that moving in Friday night into Saturday. So Saturday especially will be the wet one. You can see, though, it's packing a lot of precipitation as it moves in. We will see some snow rain mix early tomorrow morning in areas along the central and north coast, areas of Vancouver Island, and even Fraser Valley and those higher elevations elevations. That will be a risk again on Saturday morning as well. So we do have that risk of that wintry mix, but for the most part, we are trending warmer for the next couple of days and wet by Saturday. The weekend, though, will not be a washout. We'll get to that in a minute. As I mentioned, though, these flurries mixed with the rain will all be early in the morning, and then as it warms up, we'll see it shifting to just straight rain, but we'll see a few sunny breaks as well in Victoria, Vancouver Island, and out in the Fraser Valley. Prince Rupert, as I mentioned, you could see some flurries in the morning. Same story for Dease Lake, Port Hardy. Gorgeous, though. Prince George, Williams Lake, Cranbrook, all dealing with sunshine. You'll see a few flurries in some areas of the Okanagan. For the 5-day forecast for us, these showers will be earlier in the day and then will brighten up. High of 5, dropping to 4 overnight. And then Saturday is that next system that's going to bring a lot of heavy rain and perhaps some snow mixed in. Gorgeous for Sunday, Monday. And then again, that wintry mix with a chance of some wet flurries on Tuesday.
All right, thanks so much, Amy.
You're welcome.
And that is your late news for Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. For news anytime, visit our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Good night.